Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high level game of StarCraft 2 between in the bottom left spawning as our red Protoss player. It is Classic. And in the top right here as our blue Terran, it's Bunny. Protoss versus Terran action here on altitude. Wow. I think this might be one of the first Protoss versus Terran games that I see at a high level on altitude, because 90% of the time, I want to say, maybe even 95% of the time, this is the Terran's first veto. So I'm kind of curious what Bunny has planned here, because this is definitely the worst Terran map. There's a couple of reasons for that, and I'm going to go over every single one of them as we at the same time keep an eye on the openers. But as it all seems fairly standard, let's take a look at this map. So one of the issues on this map is that it's a rather large map. It's the map with the longest rush distance, which usually is good for Protoss. Second of all, it is very difficult for Terran players to take their 5th base. Usually the 5th base timing is around when Dark Templar come into play, and Dark Templar are really good at sniping planetaries. These planetaries on either this 5th or this 5th base are going to be insanely hard to hold. And as a result, we often see the moment a Terran tries to go for a 5th base pretty much falling apart. Aggressive rotations are really good for Protoss as well on this map. The moment the 5th base gets taken, you can move in between here with Stalker Disruptor and be pretty much fine. You can just bounce between these two areas. But on 4 bases, the actual defensive rotations are very good. So the first 3 to 4 bases, I think defensively are good for TOS. But after that it becomes, are good for the defense. But after that it becomes good for the aggressor. And most of the time in Protoss versus Terran, if both players are on 4 bases, or that type of phase of the game, the Terran is in charge of the game. While once a 5th base gets taken, often the Protoss player is the one that takes charge because of how DTs kind of change the way it works. That moment Disruptors usually are out as well, granting Protoss map control until Liberators are out. So this is a very difficult map generally for Terran players. I'm a big fan of the Stargate opener here as well for Classic. I think that's a good call. There's 2 ways really, 3 ways. There's 3 ways to play Stargate. One way is to go Phoenix into 2nd gate, fast 3rd base, follow it up with a Forge and a Twilight, go into Phoenix charge. That is one of the major ways that you can play. Another way is to throw down a quick robotics facility after your first few Phoenixes, and you'll go into a basically a Phoenix Colossi type of opener. This is especially very strong against 1-1-1 type of opener that go into 3 racks. It's a little bit less good against fast triple CC openers, but yeah, we'll see what he's gonna do. Then there's a 3rd option, which is what Hero, Hero is probably the only player that does this. He'll open up with an Oracle, go into Blink. It's just not a popular build anymore. It used to be extremely popular until Protoss players realized that just playing straight up Blink is better, or just playing straight up Stargate is better than it. So whether you want to play Sky Tools or you want to play air units, or if you want to play Blink, it's better to just do pure Twilight or pure Stargate. The mix of the two that fast going into Blink is usually just not that good. Your Blink is kind of late, you're not super safe against Widowmine drops. Yes, you do get some aggression with the Oracle, but it's not something that I generally approve of. We see triple Rex follow-up here for Bunny, so this is the exact scenario that I think Classic would want. Phoenix into Robo, playing against any type of multi-Rex play before 3rd CC is definitely the thing you want most. At least I'm quite a big Robo Bay enjoyer as well after Phoenixes, and that's how I feel about this. Of course, maybe Classic really hates playing against this, but I doubt it. It's very comfortable. Your opponent doesn't get great eco, which is the one thing that Phoenix Colossus actually doesn't have. Your eco generally is quite bad compared to a lot of other builds, because you take your 3rd base a lot after you take your gases 3 and 4. So rather than getting your 3rd base down at like 340, you get your 3rd base down at like the 5-minute mark. So that's a very different type of timing there. If your opponent plays a 3cc, it means you're most likely going to be down in eco. While if they play a 3 racks, the most important thing is just to hold their first push, and then you're going to be in a good spot, because you have a lot of these valuable assets in your army. You're going to open up with a fast Immortal. You're going to get a couple of Phoenixes out. It's only what I can imagine. So for Classic only build 2, that is a very low amount. But yeah, you can definitely go up to higher Phoenix numbers eventually. There's also a couple of ways, of course, to play Phoenix Colossus You can rush out the Colossus really fast, which is what Classic is doing here, or you can focus more on getting a high Phoenix count initially and then delaying your Colossi a little bit. Higher Phoenix count allows you to harass and maybe deal some damage, while a faster Colossus allows you a little bit more safety and perhaps a stronger counter attack as well once you stop the first push. So now that we've basically covered the basics of the entire Protoss versus Terran early game, let's see what's actually going to happen. As we have an adept here on this watchtower, Salnaga watchtower that's being occupied, observer a little bit forward, and this is one of the trends that I'm really down with, honestly. This looks like a weird position for an observer, and it is, but that's what makes it so good. The days of Protoss players having them in very obvious positions are over. A lot of, especially the top Korean tosses right now, are putting these observers in spots where a Terran would never think to scan, or most likely wouldn't move with their Raven either. As I say that, I see the Raven and the Viking moving into position to clear that observer, so there pretty much goes my argument. But yeah, it is a change in a little bit of a meta change, of course, which might revert back at some point. That I've been kind of fond of, honestly. I have been. There's not enough sentries to keep this army off, and there's not enough Phoenixes to snipe the Raven. So the second Colossus here is going to be absolutely vital in staying alive. The one thing you don't want with Phoenix Colossus is getting interference matrix and then being forced to, well, to fight with units that aren't Colossi. That generally sucks. Ooh, double force fields, looks good. Gets a Cyclone, gets a mine. Does mean that delaying is not possible anymore here. So if the double interference matrix gets cast, I think Classic is going to be forced to fight right now. Here we go. Number 1, number 2. Okay, here we have it. Mines burrow as well. Super Battery gets activated. I wouldn't have minded if Bunny decided to run towards the natural. Instead, he's straight up going to fight the army, but into a Super Battery, that's often a mistake. Raven's gonna stay alive though, so there's a possibility to pull a trick like this again in the future. Triple Rex build orders though need to do a little bit of damage, and I think that Classic gets away here. I think he stays alive until he gets the third Colossus out, is already starting his Immortal production, adding more and more Phoenixes, +1 in charge as well, so he's gonna be in a very happy spot right now. Even thinking about a counter-attack here, only a single Viking. Raven's gonna get sniped, that is big. That is very big actually. Marauders can get picked up by these Phoenixes, of course. Need to be careful to not get sniped by the Marines. Good moves. Very good and tight movement there with the Phoenixes. Orbital Command gets thrown down. Templar Archives and 4 more gates. And the first Ghosts are already coming out, so this is a style that used to be more popular back in the day. Just straight up rushing into Viking Ghost. Going for a big 1-1 push, trying to kill your opponent's fort base. As of late, we've seen a lot of Korean Terrans rush out the armory in the second eBay instead and continue medevac production. Kind of keep control of the game by having a lot of units out on the map in different groups. That doesn't seem to be the goal here for Bunny. Bunny wants to go for a fort base, and then as he takes his own fort base, probably wants to move out to deny a fort base. This is a very common approach. So your second eBay, your armory get delayed a little bit, but you have a powerful timing push. Ghost count currently only at 2. Only 3 Vikings as well in this army, but the Phoenix count also is rather low. Well, Phoenix has gone down as a prism is being constructed. If Bunny is planning on pushing, I think he's hitting kind of late. I'm not sure if this is still in time to really deny a third base. Drop in the main base is going to distract. It's a good start. It would be brilliant if Bunny could get a couple of these Phoenixes sniped. Starts moving forward here in between the third, the natural, and the fourth. Really the golden spot here. More Zealots being warped in charge. EMPs do hit a big chunk of those Zealots, but I think there's simply too many Zealots here. Main base has been cleaned up, but the worker count heavily in favor of our Terran player. Couple more Marauder shots are going to clear those Zealots. As the Prism makes its way towards the top side, but within the vision range here of the Watchtower. That means that these Vikings should be heading towards the top to deal with that War Prism. 2-2 is going to be faster here for Bunny, and it will be for Classic. And Classic in a little bit of, well, a decent chunk of trouble, actually. Fort base is there, but the worker count isn't. +2 attack is there, but the armor upgrade isn't. 5 gases are there, but the second robo hasn't finished yet. Not a single disruptor is out. And the army that Bunny is building right now requires disruptors to deal with. You can't fight this army with Colossus Immortal Archon. There's too many Ghosts for EMPs. There's too many Vikings to deal with the Colossi. I am honestly surprised to see Classic move out here. And funnily enough, this could actually work out very, very well for him. Oh, that's a huge scan out of Bunny. Spots this army, and as a result is not going to move out across the map. That is really a saving grace for Classic, because I'm afraid for him. I'm afraid for Classic just dying. If he doesn't get any disruptors out, life is going to suck. Zealots now being sent out for potential run-bys. Moving in towards the third base, will move into sensor tower range. Bunny will come back with both armies at the same time, stimming in. Needs to pull these SCVs away as well. He's going to lose a bunch for free. It's not moving these SCVs. 7, 8 SCVs go down here. The Zealots continue charging. One fresh mule under attack as well. Classic with a rotation towards the right side. Zealots towards the left. 9 SCVs go down. I don't know about this, my friends. I don't know about this. 3 disruptors at a time. Triple robo. 68 workers. Graphitic drive for the Warp Prism speed. There isn't even a Warp Prism out at the moment. There is, never mind. I said nothing. I take back everything that I said. Prism is indeed out. So let's work on that 5th base as this Prism is looking for something. Mine is going to spot... Did he spot that mine? No way. No, he didn't. Otherwise, you wouldn't walk straight through it like that. Zealots warped in and will be sent in towards the 3rd. EMP gets used and good micro here out of the Ghost chasing, forcing these Zealots to chase, aggroing them. And single turret is not going to be enough to stop this Prism. Do we have a warp in coming in? There are 8 gateways and yes, indeed a warp in here as well. 8 SCVs went down as these refineries are being attacked as well. Armory under fire. Ship weapons level 1 has already finished up. 12 SCVs going down. Classic really making a game out of this. Fairly poor start for him, but takes it back. In firm control right now, I would say. Yes, the upgrades still aren't perfect, but his disruptor count is growing slowly but surely. He's getting some controls, taking out a couple of SCVs, left, right, and center. 5th base, here we go. It's going to be difficult to defend for Classic. It should also be very hard to defend, of course, for Bunny. No Dark Shrine on the way yet, though, as these Zealots meet the army. And I think the rotation here, the defensive rotation, is going to be too slow for Classic. Prism makes its way back in, flies over the turret that it's all building Earth. Like, hey, I didn't know you already finished it up. It's like when you haven't been in a place for a while and all of a sudden there's new buildings. It's like, oh, that looks cool. This fight looks a little bit less cool as disruptor shots are going to connect with big chunks of the Ghost and Marauders. There's not actually that much anti-air, but the anti-air that is there will still take care of these Vikings as 2 Colossi stay alive. 3 Vikings is all that remains right now. The lip transition is coming in. But ship weapons level 2 has not been started yet, as the armory actually did get taken out. That is a big deal. For the people not aware, ship weapons level 2 allows Liberators to 2-shot Stalkers, if they're not EMP'd, and if they are EMP'd, to 1-shot Stalkers, which is just a huge deal. It's a massive thing. Absolutely massive. Here comes a mine, here comes a mine, and that's nothing. Here comes the disruptor, here comes the disruptor, and does... well, quite a bit actually. Blink forward as well. First lip gets taken out. Second lip is also down. SCV's dying against the disruptor shot. There's still no secondary harassment group. This is all that Classic has. This is the army. This is it. And I think that this might be it for Bunny as well, as he's losing a lot of units. Tries to siege up another Liberator. Will snipe 2 more Immortals. 40 workers against 70. That means that the army count is actually looking good for Bunny, while his worker count is what's paining him. Liberators with advanced ballistics will help out. 3-3 should finish up soon as well, and that's going to make the upgrades a little bit more favorable for Bunny than they are for Classic. Add in the fact that there's still 1 Ghost remaining with 1 EMP. And there is a possibility that one good fight can change the outcome of the game. Good disruptor snipes here, but maybe not good enough. Liberators dealing a lot of damage, and Bunny perhaps winning this fight here. Is there another EMP available? Yes, there is. It's not being used though, as these Stalkers remain with full shields. For now, do we get a pickup on the Ghost? Yeah, we do. Liberator also sieges up 99 supply against 117, 50 army supply against 42. But the income way too big here for Classic, who has managed to establish a 5th base on the left side. Bunny, meanwhile, moving towards the right. And now we're going to see some of these aggressive rotations that are so difficult to deal with for Terran. If you have to deal with them defensively, Mine is going to connect with a Zealot, take it out. 5 SCVs being produced at a time. And the game for now is going to continue at least a little bit longer. Really thought it was over. I'm surprised to not see a Dark Shrine here out yet. It's such a useful tool to have around. Either defensively or aggressively. So extremely low orbital count here for Bunny, which means that DTs would be even better than usual. Only 4 orbitals right now. Triple lips are on the way as this Prism is going to fly into a turret, but should not die. Here comes the repair on the orbital command. We're also going to need to see repair on this planetary, as there's a lot of Immortals here. Could deal some damage. Oop. More SCVs going down. Good little rotation here, but perhaps the 4th base now in trouble. Yep. Indeed, as we see a recall. 64 army supply against 89. More lips on the way. Now, this looks bad for Bunny, but if Bunny manages to get into a good position with his Liberators, you can't actually break Liberator spots very well. +1 lips, though. Really not as strong. It's such a huge difference. Such a huge, huge difference. Prism makes its way in towards the main base. We warp in 2 Zealots, or sorry, 2 Stalkers, 6 Zealots. 2 Stalkers, great of course against Medivacs in case, you know, you want to drop on top of this. Or against Liberators as well. It's going to be a huge help. That Liberator's actually going to get splashed upon by the mine. Here come the Stalkers, well, not quite fulfilling their purpose. And I think this Prism also is going to be in trouble, will be pushed away. At the same time, though, 5th base got taken out. Lots of Immortals, lots of Disruptors there. Good rotations. And I think we're getting pretty much a masterclass on why altitude should be a veto. And this masterclass is being taught by Classic right now. 6th base on the way for our Protoss, while the Terran stuck on 4. 43 workers and pretty much an all-in position here. 5 Liberators are out. Perhaps we can get a setup on this, was this the 3rd base, I think? That would actually be kind of big. If you can get a setup here, that would be something. Like, if you get 5-6 lips in position, 99 army supply against 103, you shut off this flank area. Ooh, these lips, what are they doing? Just moving forward like a bunch of clowns. That is not what you want to be doing, but a lot of these Stalkers actually getting taken out. Imagine these Liberators with +2, though. Would be a completely different story. This would be an unbreakable position. It still is pretty much unbreakable, but... yeah, I think 8 Marines need to be split off and start heading towards these topside bases. That's going to be an absolute priority here. Oop! These 8 Marines that just died. Should have definitely gone in there. Another thing you can do is actually drop in towards the main. And that's what Bunny will go for. Yeah, this is an interesting play. A very interesting play. Needs to probably... do you even want to EMP this? Or do you want to bait a recall? Maybe baiting a recall isn't bad. There are a couple of lips at home. I think Bunny now realizes what's going on. Is going to unsiege the lips. What a call here. What a call. The perfect call. And will start setting up here in his main. There's not enough to break this straight up. The 1 mine is actually going to help out a lot. And any amount of Marauders is also definitely going to be a contributing factor. There we go. Raise the depot. Another mine shot. And these Liberators siege up, dealing a lot of damage. Marines stimming forward, taking out the last of these Stalkers. But 6 more get warped in. There must have been a Prism there, or they were just late to the party. It's also a possibility as 4 more lips come out. Don't think they'll be capable of defending, but maybe we'll help out keeping this planetary alive. As at the same time... well, actually, this wasn't so great. He needs to clear the pylons. If you clear pylons, life is actually okay. If you don't clear the pylons, there's still reinforcement possibility here for Classic, who's still mining a crap ton. Should have definitely gone for the production a little bit faster there. That was a huge error of judgment out of Bunny. Probably too busy defending at home to really think about what to focus on here. I mean, money is great, but if you can't spend the money, it is kind of useless. We actually saw, like, what, 10, 12, 13 more Stalkers being warped, and that's going to be a game changer. Bunny with such a sick little play here, forcing that base trade, but handling the base trade rather poorly. Yeah. I actually think that armory snipe is what lost the game for Bunny. I just don't see a way for can he still win? Nah, maybe? There's one Phoenix out as well, which is actually kind of big. Okay, next is gonna stay alive. Worker count just isn't large enough, I think. Army count too big as well here for Classic. Classic can do anything. He can fight, he can defend, he can attack. Like, he's not afraid of any of the scenarios. I really believe that if +2 ship weapons would have finished up, that these fights would have been so good for Bunny. I'm not sure if Classic could have done anything about it. Like, EMPs now are gonna hit, but... Actually, some of these Stalkers are a little bit bruised up, so we'll end up getting one shot, but some of the others don't. Yeah, this is frustrating to watch. Is there still... Yeah, there's still loads of pylons as well, so... 7 Zealots a minute still in production. We see kind of a messed up disruptor shot there. Another messed up disruptor shot. Classic is doing this poorly, but I think he's too far ahead to really matter. He's absolutely destroying this right now. As we have the final Liberator going down. And I think this game, my dear friends, is going to be completely over. GG gets called as Classic wins the game. That will be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye.